This is Happy Life Coach, and what can a life coach like me do for you? It depends a little bit. I can help persons to make, individual persons, to make a decision and analyzing the situation, the problem, the opportunity. It's not always like it's not going well. It can also be that there are things that you have to make a decision to a newer step in life, something positive and constructive, but it's still, you often can't share that with other people. And then it's good when you have a life coach who can listen, analyze with you, so you can make the right decisions. And that can be also for a small business or a bigger business. I'm not talking about multinationals. I'm talking bigger business. You have a company with 100, 200, 300 staff members. That's a big business. And actually, the smaller it gets, the more responsibilities you have. Especially like, okay, say you have a hotel and after 10 o'clock and there is a problem, who solves it? Well, the ladies at the reception. Often the general manager goes there to solve the problem. Yeah, but when you're bigger, you have department heads and assistants, and then it becomes a little bit easier. But, so you have individual, small business, bigger business, you have emotional problems, and I'm not a psychiatrist. I studied and I worked as a social therapist and in most of the time in most of intensive care. And after that, I did a lot of crisis management, startup management, turnarounds, crisis management. And those are always situations where you meet people which are under stress, feel like they're not appreciated, feel like it's not going well and I can't do nothing, powerless. And then you have the top of the company who feels often, and it can be a smaller business, a bigger business, the responsibility of all the people who depend on you. And when you make a decision, and the decision is not really good, it affects you. It can be personal, it can be with family, it can be with friends, it can be with unions, it can be with a bank, it can be with finances, partners, you name it, shareholders. It can affect everything. So those are moments that is difficult to talk about, and with who you talk about. Say, for instance, you want to make new changes. Well, maybe some staff members right away, when they hear something about it, make the decision, not for me, I'm gone. And you lose your best options for your ideas because you depended on that person, his knowledge. So you have to be careful. But with who do you talk about it? Therefore is a life coach. Therefore, I can support with my experience, especially my crisis experience, that you think rational, try to think rational, sometimes difficult when you're very emotionally involved, when it's huge decisions, important decisions. Important can be a grow, but can also be like, and now we have to do something, or we go bankrupt, or we can close the door, or it's end of my relation, etc., etc., etc. Those are moments which are really very, very difficult often to make those decisions alone. Without that, it goes in the circuit of gossip and I don't know what, with all the consequences. You don't want that. I don't want that for you. And we can brainstorm. We can listen. That's what I can do. I can listen. and sometimes only listening, and the person telling his story, what he normally discusses in his own head. And we all talk to ourselves, right? In here. And sometimes it's not talking, but thoughts going up and down. I could do this, what do I do? It's not talking, but some people really talk inside to themselves. And you can do that with someone else because most of the time you're in a circle. And then decision making is difficult. You know what is more difficult? When you don't make decisions in life. Sometimes you have to get the toxic out. That can be in a relation, that can be in a business. You need to have the negatives out. You need to have the destructives out. I have a very clear opinion there. You can be whatever relation from me, but when a person is destructive and negative, I don't need to have contact with you. Why should I spend my time on people who want to be destructive, like don't want to help themselves, or expect that others always help them and they themselves do nothing? That doesn't work. That doesn't work. And to analyze these things and motivate people, that can be a huge step. That can be a huge life changer for people like that. That they see and hear the reality and say, okay, I have to do this something. I have to change. And then it's doing it. Most important thing, doing it. And don't care if it goes wrong, because when it goes wrong, I had this week with a friend and I say, you know, whatever. We learned again a couple of things today. Didn't work, but we learned a couple of things. That was about crypto. And we couldn't get access. And difficult verification. And stressful and trying and you name it. But at the end of the day, with investigating, we learned a whole bunch of steps. Where the problem is and why and how. So, nothing wrong here. A person who only listens like, okay, you couldn't come in, and now, well, we still can't come in. We still don't. But we learned a whole bunch of things. We learned also that we have our limitations. Because we can't solve all the things by ourselves. We can't. Sometimes we need support there. And I say always, I really like support. I like sharing of knowledge, sharing of ideas, sharing of expectations, as long as it is positive, creative, constructive. But when the reaction back is, yeah, but, those are not the right people in your surrounding. And that is, sometimes it's difficult to take that away. That's also decision making. Do you need that in your life? And you see then often that people say, no, that person brings me nothing, creates in my business only problems. And I can have 10 others to do his job. And yes, but he has a family and blah, blah, blah. I understand. I'm the first who thinks about that. When you have a lot of staff, I always say, 100 people staff is 50 families at least. The rest are younger, have no family. So that is a big responsibility. And that weights in decision making. But then you have to see like, yeah, but the person has to get positive, has to add positive things, creative things, input in the business or in a relation. And when a person doesn't want to do it, simply not, because I don't care. Well, then my answer is, why should you care? And that is then the message. And those decisions are often very difficult. They are not easy. Sharing that with a life coach that is a good option. And I'm talking about relations. Can be financial things in the business. I understand the financials of bigger business. Okay, I can analyze business plans, the numbers, the year numbers. I can analyze them and tell you where are critical situations, and what has to be changed. Sometimes short finance has to be changed to longer finance, mid-finance, sometimes change of location to get a cheaper or more effective space to work. And sometimes to make the decision like, okay, you don't make enough, but you still have money to invest, and when you invest, you can add 25% to your sales, to your production, and you have enough sales. And all these decisions I can support with that. And how to work, the efficiency of work, very important. When I see with all the efforts sometimes management does, and advertising, promotions and whatever, and then when you call a WhatsApp, messenger, an email, you wait sometimes for days. I got answers from emails that I thought, where is this about? I don't even recall. It was after 10 days. And in 10 days happened a lot of things. I solved already the issue. I bought it already because I got no answer. When I see this so much, and then I'm thinking like, this is not okay. Decisions have to be made there. And there needs to be, action. There needs to be answering, communicating, making connection with the clients. All those things. I can analyze those things very quickly and tell a CEO, general manager, owner, I can tell them very easy, like, I know what your problem is. The problem is there. That's one of your biggest problems. And I see that, especially that, the contacting communication with the clients, customers, is often terrible, really. And I know companies like iHerb. I bought their things, and there were problems with transport and whatever, and then finally Duana made problems, and I got such an excellent service from iHerb. It was incredible. And they received the package back, and they sent me the money back, and with excuses, and sent me right away a new promotion because of the inconvenience. Now, that is business. That's a company I like. And they sell a lot of supplements, etc., etc. And we will talk about that, because good business, good decision making, you only can make when you're healthy. A healthy mind, a healthy body. It doesn't matter if you're young or old. I know young people who are old, and I know old people who are young when you look to age. But in reality, like, I have a lot of energy. I eat good. I don't eat processed food. I eat only natural food. I don't eat fast food. And when I say don't, well, once a year I probably in a McDonald's, because it's an easy place to have a meeting in somewhere. And then I say, let's meet in that McDonald's near you. Okay, great. And I have a breakfast, and then I think, oh gosh. But okay, that's then once a year. That's no problem. And when you eat fast food once in the 2 weeks, that is also no problem. But I see people eating every day fast food, and they get obese and obese and obese. And their minds are simply not good. There is simply something terribly wrong. And then they're sitting on the office, they don't feel good, they're irritated, they have high blood pressure, they're simply unhealthy, they don't have a clear mind, they don't have a creative mind, because that mind is like in a cloud. They do the basic things of their job, and that's it. Well, that's the first step for a company to go down. So, therefore, you can have a life coach. I can analyze with you the food, what you eat, and what you should not eat, and what you should eat. And I'm very easy with that. No processed food and no fast food. On a diet, personally, I think most are nonsense. Only when you have a certain sickness and you can't eat something, then, yes, then it's very important to have a diet. But simply a diet to get weight loss, eat healthy, and your body regulates it itself. Don't eat a soup plate full with a top on it. I mean, I see people eating a kilo food and something like, what the heck is going on with these people? When you do that, you get sleepy, you get, people come and a lot of interactions, you get irritated, you can't follow the conversation, etc. How can you manage a company, small or big, with a mind and a body like that? You can't. Therefore, we can support you. We can support you with analyzing these things and how to improve yourself first. That's number one. Number one is yourself first. You need to feel good. You need to feel healthy. You have to feel like, okay, I'm not healthy, but I'm on a good track. That's already good for the mind, getting positive, you know. And out of that comes also a clearer mind and analyzing and doing the right things in management and the right things in life. I hope to see you soon. All right.